In Episode 4 of the Andor series, we are formally introduced to the Imperial Security Bureau. So what do we actually learn about the ISB? What stands out the most on first glance are those incredibly impressive white uniforms. Our first glimpse of the ISB, which we don't really know at the time, was Colonel Yularen in the conference room on the first Death Star. His white uniform always stood out to me against the military greens, browns, and grays of the other officers. And during the Clone Wars, this is the same Republic Navy Admiral Yularen who served under Anakin Skywalker. In this series, it's clear that Tony Gilroy and the production team are paying attention to details, ensuring this series fits into and expands on the already existing lore. And for the first time, we get to see the inner workings of how this intelligence agency operates. We meet Lieutenant Dedra Meero, who appears to be the primary intelligence officer we'll be following in this show. Over the course of the episode, we learn that she oversees 2 sectors while her colleagues oversee 6. So at this point, it's safe to assume she's a junior officer, and we later discover she's been with the ISB for just a year. Attending a meeting led by Major Partagaz, we learn the true purpose of the ISB. The scene begins with Supervisor Grandy discussing increased detention estimates in the Ryloth sector and the added budget needed to prevent the degradation of Imperial authority. Ryloth is the homeworld of the Twi'lek species and has been exploited for centuries by the Hutts and other criminal organizations in relation to the spice trade and slave labor. Twi'leks had been fighting for their freedom for generations, and that carried through the Clone Wars and continued under the reign of the Empire. Major Partagaz questions Grandy on how the additional resources would be utilized, reprimanding her for the need for specifics and not generalities. He then inquires of another agent for the item from Arvala 6, but he does not accept the lack of detail in the reports. Nothing beyond this is currently known about Arvala 6, but it is on Arvala 7 that in about 10 years' time, Din Djarin will meet Quill in The Mandalorian. Now it's clear from this scene that Partagaz will tolerate nothing less than perfection from his agents, and he creates a teaching moment to instill in them the Emperor's true design for the ISB. He asks the agent what their purpose is, and Dedra recites the organization's mission statement verbatim. Partagaz quickly informs her that she is wrong. He then begins driving home his point that even his own agents do not understand their true purpose, when he states security is an illusion. The Imperial military exists to enforce security. The ISB are the healthcare providers who treat sickness by identifying symptoms. Their sole purpose is to identify the germs that grow from the inside or infiltrate from outside the Empire, and their job is to identify any illness quickly so it's easier to implement the necessary treatment. The ISB is the Imperial Secret Police, Palpatine's version of the Gestapo from Nazi Germany, who use deceptive and sometimes terrorist tactics against those who they believe to be traitors. The next agenda point for the meeting is the fallout of Cassian's killing of the 2 corporate security officers on Ferrix. As the specifics of the event are detailed, Dedra takes notice at the mention of a stolen Imperial Starpath unit. Partagaz then asks for clarification on added protection requests for traffic to the Abrion sector. This is an interesting sector of space in the Outer Rim territories, as it is home to Kamino and Scarif, and at this moment in the timeline, construction of the first Death Star had already transitioned from Geonosis to Scarif. With increased anti-Imperial sentiment spreading throughout the galaxy, it's no wonder requests were coming in to protect construction ships transiting to this system. This episode is filled with lore references, but I was extremely thrilled with this segment of the show, and I can't wait to see how they expand on this story when the Galactic Senate is brought into the picture in future episodes. For more Star Wars content, check out the video on the screen. Thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.